Hey y'all, happy Valentine's Day. I figured I would save my makeup for tonight instead of putting on the dramatic eye for the daytime. And then, it not being as fresh for when we go out later. We're gonna take the girls to like a little ceramic paint and sip kind of thing, but it's like for families. I hope they have wine, but most paint and well, I take that back. Not all paint and sips are kid friendly, but it should be cute because they've never done that with us. So I hope you guys have fun tonight, whatever your plans are. Um, and be safe as always. And I also wanted to thank every single viewer that has commented, every I mean, I'm telling you, like, I can't stress that enough. YouTube is such a huge world and it's so many people out here talking about so many different things. So for you to take the time with me and just share your thoughts or just, say what you liked or whatever, it just means the world to me. So thank you. Sometimes like it's weird for me talking basically to myself, but I'm like, somebody out here listening, like somebody cares, But come on, TT. But today I wanted to share since today is Day of Love, I wanted to share one of my loves that I actually don't mention a lot. Mainly because I've been kind of disconnected from it, but and then it's gonna tie into keeping things for you and not in a negative way, but being okay with everybody's not going to get you. Everybody's not going to, high five you and give you a thumbs up and say, well, good for you. Like that sounds great. Hey, whatever makes you happy, if that's what you need to, do your self care, self love. A lot of people don't have that in them or they don't even hear themselves. And so I've had to like be very protective of my little babies. You know what I mean? Be protective of my life, my dreams, my everything because it's not for everybody and everybody's not going to get it. Everybody's not going to co-sign with it. And let me tell you, I don't know if all of my viewers, are totally like me as far as, being black, being in their 30s, being a mom, all of the things that I identify as. But let me tell you, growing up, there were things that were quote unquote black, and there were things that were like more white. And I don't mean that in a negative way. But some black people just aren't known to do certain things, and so, people would make comments like skateboarding. Oh, that's white. Why it is that way? There are, and if you look, you're gonna find groups of people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, male and female, people are going to be doing the thing, but they're going to be like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? That's so different. That's so like out of the box. And so when I see people expanding that little box of thinking, like, oh, that's black or that's white, like when we see someone dancing hip hop, or beatboxing, you're like, oh, they're doing the black thing. You know what I mean? Like, how we can separate things. And it's like I said, it's not always the best way to think, but we tend to, it's out of habit. So because I grew up in the suburbs and then we moved to the country, because I was homeschooled, because I had a small group of black friends and I was exposed to a homeschool community that was more white, I was exposed to different things that I really fell in love with. Now, mind you, I don't know if y'all remember, but I had a hot girl summer and I reared my head of rebellion and I was like, look, I'm out here. I'm tired of being teased, and called white, and I wanted to identify with the hood and the city and my cousins and the circle that I was running in. So like I tried really hard to fit in, but the way I talked, my vocabulary, and just my exposure, it was like oil and water, And so I ended up coming full circle back and very like confident in my interest and like, look, I'm just not about this life, because I would be with a group and they be talking this stuff, designers, musicians and bands and groups and pop culture, hip hop culture, even a little bit of, that weed stuff and all. And I was just like, what's going on, And so I just was so out of place, and I never really like meshed well. Now I picked up the drinking. I love me a good drink, but that other stuff, it just wasn't me. And I always loved to dance and go out, but I just was like, if I don't fit in, I don't fit in, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't the best dancer. I didn't know all the dance moves and all the words and all the artists. And there was a game like a black trivia game, and I would just be like, I don't know who the second singer of some group from the 90s, most popular R&B group, and who cast this role in this video, or identify that phrase. So that's been a lifelong journey that I have really not struggled with, but just definitely had to face. So when I, got into the horse world, we in the country, you see a lot of horses. 4-H, they had horseback riding stuff, barrel racing. The state fairs, you had your cows and your horses and your mules and things like that. And I just always have loved horses. And so that was such a white thing, you know what I mean? Like, now there are little pockets of black cowboys, and they have their little associations and things like that. I know Texas has a big cowboy scene, but in Virginia, that was definitely either for country people that just loved horses and had their little, or you went full scale, like really rich, wealthy English riders, competitions, dressage, and all that stuff. Out in Lorton and Fairfax, and where all the rolling hills and beautiful farms. Even Charlottesville had some beautiful horse estates, and it's just with the backdrop of the mountains, and you just saw cha-ching, 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 like $1 million properties. And I never let that discourage me. And I never let anybody tell me I was too black or too anything to ride my horses. And I was lucky enough, we had family friends who had horses. And I would ride, and I would go and pet them, and just be all in the mix. And so that love has always been in me. Like, I can't go anywhere without stopping if I see a horse. Virginia Beach has the horseback police department. DC even has those. Where New York has the horse-drawn carriages. Downtowns have there's one in Fredericksburg too. So you can find your little pockets where, the horses are still very much a part of life. But I'm that one, like, oh my God, we gotta go pet it. Can I pet it? You know what I mean? What kind of horse it is? What's his name? And like, you gotta pull me away. And so when I light up about my love of horseback riding and all things horses, and, always dreaming of having my own horses, whether I board or whatever, it's always been, mixed reactions. And funny thing, I will say that white people are a little bit more like, oh yeah, it's not hard to do. Like, you got to take care of them, but yeah, it's blah, 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 blah. Black people, girl, them horses are expensive. Or, you can fall off them things, and them things too big. And, they're just a little bit more apprehensive with like the whole world around it. Even my fiance, he was like, I've been on a horse once, and it was walking, and I was like, I'm good. And I was like, what? Like, you've never galloped, you've never like, ridden bareback, or, oh, let me tell you another time that I was dreaming. I'm a big dreamer, and I wanted the girls and I to take a trip. And so I was out down the Grand Canyon rabbit hole, and they have mule rides and more horseback rides too. There's a difference. And you could ride the horses along these little canyon trails or whatever. I was like, oh my God, how cute would that be? But at the time, I don't think my girls were old enough. And so, safety purposes, I get it. But a lot of people that offer horse services, they have to be on the safe side. It is a huge liability. So I was like, look, I'm just going to get my own horses. I'll get 3. My girls can ride any age. I don't care. And we can do our own thing. But I never let, the price of horses, land, the barn, the upkeep, all that stuff ever stop me. Because also too, when growing up, the people that had horses, they weren't like super flashy and rich. So they'd have this little 3-sided run-in shed. You know, they'd have like an electric fence, and they'd have a smaller little rambler house, and you pull up and you're like, oh, there's the horse, like literally in the front yard or tied to a tree. Like it wasn't anything that was like overcomplicated or like whereas like a dummy could have a horse. Like in my mind, I'm like, this is so feasible. Like all you need is a little rope, a little wire fence, a running shed, and a pile of hay and a bucket to feed, give it water. Like my mind is like, oh, this is so doable. Obviously, it's best to have more, but I'm like, I'm gonna be balling on a budget. That was me in my younger days. And the one guy that stood out that had horses that stood out to me, he would say things like, because we used to go to church with him, he would come in, I would see him like on a Sunday, and he'd be like, yeah, just traded my son's go-kart for a horse. So if you want to come over and see the new horse, you're more than welcome to. And my mouth would just drop open like, you traded a go-kart for a horse? Or one time he had a really quality saddle, the high quality saddle, and traded the saddle for the horse and then a little down. And so, horses were like dogs, in that world. Like getting a horse was nothing to them. It wasn't like, a $10,000 horse, $20,000 horse. Like these were little regular old horses from wherever that just, sweet as can be, just easy peasy. Now, the other family, they did trade. They were a little bit more on the fancy side. They would go out to Kentucky, West Virginia, and bring a whole trail of horses back. I rode a Tennessee Walker. That was my first time riding a Percheron. That was my first time seeing a Clydesdale. That was my first time seeing a miniature pony. I mean, it was nothing to go over there any given time and just see, 5, 10 different types of horses. And you might come back and the horse that you saw last week was gone, because they were constantly selling and trading and doing their horse business. So that also just planted that seed of like, wow, oh my gosh, like this is just amazing, and so I say all that to say that that is my first love. And whatever you enjoy doing or whatever you're curious about, don't let those type of limitations, because they're really not real. Don't let those things hold you back from exploring. If you want to try hang gliding, if you want to try rock climbing, if you want to try surfing, all these things that like seem to be only geared to one group of people or one body type, or you have your core strength, or you got to have years of experience. You can start anything and build your way up, and even if you dip your toe in it and you come back to it years later, like with me, I wasn't always able to do the horse thing. I didn't start putting Lord. I didn't start my daughter with horseback riding lessons until I had the money. She was about 8 or 9, and we got lucky. And let me tell you, it was not some fancy super expensive thing. Like we went to a thrift shop. In the window it said horseback riding lessons with those little glitter stickers you stick on a poster board. I called the number. Come to find out, it was a retired jockey from out in California who had moved to Virginia because his daughter was out here, and he loved it. Was out the game as far as the professional side, but still wanted to teach kids. And so he had like 5 horses, and he was renting a barn and boarding his horses and offering these lessons. Y'all, let me tell you, I was paying $50 a lesson. And my daughter would be out there 2 hours. She would learn how to do the tack, do the maintenance, the care, do the lesson, bring her horse back in, wash it down, brush it down, put her stuff up, the saddle, all the stuff, put it up. And he really took his time. He wasn't like one of those ones like, oh, the session's up, just drop everything, get out the door. You know what I mean? Like, I was getting it was worth more than I was paying because he was so passionate about it. And then I would stand out there and talk, and then I'd be petting the horses. And sometimes we could just be out there for hours, just hanging out, And so that was an experience that I really, really enjoyed. And we would go once or twice a week. And so we did that for a little while. And then the season, because of the weather, we had to pause. And then I had her in something else too. But anyway, and then, we moved to Maryland. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get back into it and find a community up here. But I say all that to say, It doesn't mean your dream has to die. It doesn't mean that your dream has to, be something left in a certain season of your life, or especially in your childhood. I don't think we give our childhood enough, like, pulling from it. Like, what did you used to do that you love, that just, like, you could just get lost in? And no, it doesn't have to become a business. You don't have to cash out on it. Sometimes it's just for you. No one has to understand it. No one has to agree with it or care or support you. It could just be your thing. I mean, I learned how to knit and crochet. I didn't do anything with it, but I can knit and crochet. You know what I mean? Like, it's relaxing to me. What's another thing? I learned how to embroider. I don't make tapestries everywhere, but I'm proud to say I know how to embroider. You know what I mean? Again, things that aren't as popular as, say, I don't know, hula hooping or double dutching. You know what I mean? Like, so skip ahead. I'm talking to certain individuals. I'm not gonna say any names. And I was like, I'm really coming to a place where, like, I actually, like, typed in horse boarding, because moving to a new house with land is definitely more of a undertaking, and you have to consider being further out. You have to consider, like, the zoning and all that stuff. So I was like, boarding is totally, like, a thing. And so I was like, well, what are the numbers? Because I don't want to come from a scarcity mindset and be like, oh, there's just no way. It's just going to be so expensive. So I'm like, oh, I typed it in. I pushed enter. 2 farms in my area came up. One was fully booked, and one was like, they do everything for $715 a month. And I was like, not bad. If I'm making the money that I want to make, and I'm got some things going, and I've got some passive income, and I have, like, not bad. Like, I don't know what I expected, but I'm so glad I wasn't afraid to look into it, afraid to, whatever it is they may have, like yoga has, like, this introductory first time rate, or you can do it unlimited, like, try it, go, and so, like, look it up. What it can't hurt anything but just get you excited to, like, be in the moment of, like, this can be possible, and so when I mentioned the price, some people were like, oh my goodness, like, oh, why would you want to do all that? That's a lot of money. I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this to myself? No! Why do I have such a big mouth? Like, I don't have the energy to try to convince you. I don't have the energy to try to defend. Like, I thought we were talking. You said, what have I been up to? And I'm like, oh, today I got really excited because, with everything going the way it's going, like, I looked into, and you kind of shot it down. Now, in that moment, I had to tap into my self-love, tap into my self-awareness, tap into, like, it's okay because it's not for you, it's for me. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to stand on my square. I said what I said. I did what I said. I'm going to have my little horse. I'm going to have my little pony. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And next time, I'm not going to tell you about it. You know what I mean? Like, next time, I'm not going to share. You're not going to, and I don't have to, and I don't mean, like, to get, like, defensive with it. But I was like, it's okay if people don't understand, if people don't get you, if you don't share your excitement. You have to decide which way you go and who you choose to share and who you choose to not share. But moving in silence is one of the, like, the golden, it's just like, you could just pop up and be like, boom. I started surfing lessons, and so everywhere that I travel, if it's, if it's on a coastline, I booked it, and yeah, I'm going to be learning how to surf. So, boom, drop a picture. Boom, drop an update. And people are like, what? When did you start surfing? Wow, like, I didn't know you were going to Florida and then going out to California and going out to off some beach off Texas or wherever. I don't know. Surf, doing this surfing thing everywhere you go. What? Wow, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? it's more of a like, yeah, I've been doing this versus like, I'm gonna start, what do you guys think? Or like, I'm gonna start. And so everyone can like talk you out of it or talk you out of, or like, oh, that's dangerous. You know what I mean? I heard them waters off of Texas they're no joke. Them waves are different than Virginia Beach waves or, whatever. Let's take something a little bit more extreme. Rock climbing. Oh, my daughter and I did rock climbing. And let me tell you, we were the only black people in there. And nobody was like whispering and looking and like wondering, like, could we do it? Nobody was like, are you sure? Nobody was like, nobody was like anything. Everybody was minding their business, doing their thing, competing against themselves, their own times, their own, whatever. There's different walls that do different things, different levels, and so, and then we learned that there's different, like, you can learn to rock climb and then support your partner. I forgot what that action is, but it's a whole thing. And then those indoor studios, a lot of them go out to like real rock, real real mountains, and they're about that life, and they had the pictures of the different excursions, and I'm like, wow. Now, I'm halfway up the wall. This was some years ago too. And I look back and, it's not like the little play place rock climbing where you have the whole body harness and so you feel supported. You can lean back. No, them things came around my hips and that was it. And, the guy at the bottom was like, you're doing great, and I'm like, he's a professional, he's professional, he's professional. I didn't think I was going to fall, but your mind starts overthinking like you're on a rock, 50 feet up in the air. And if you lean back, you can still lose your footing and fall. What are you thinking? You know what I mean? So you start feeling the nerves and the chills of being up so high. Whereas when you're first working up your way up, you're focused. You're like, okay, which way do I want my hand to go? Like, and you're leaning into the rock. You're not like overthinking and like, oh my God, like, you're on autopilot, but it's a more like empowered autopilot, not like climbing scared, like, oh my God, if I lean back, I'm going to fall. So that was another experience that like, there's no rules out here, like, and you shouldn't, in your own mind, just like I'm telling myself, you shouldn't think, oh, this is white, this is black, or this is too dangerous, or this is too just too expensive, this is too much. I don't really fit into that world. That's for, rich white people that have money and can buy, Derby winner thoroughbred horses that are like $50,000, $20,000, like, and I should just stop while I'm ahead because, all the care and the upkeep and the maintenance is so expensive, and I just shouldn't even get out of my league. It's just not a good way to think, and it's not a good thing to talk yourself out of anything. If you want to do it. If that's your love, do it. And so I wanted to share my love of horses. Look, I love horses so much. I'm gonna show y'all. I collect these little figurines. I have a glass one. I have a pewter one. That's a unicorn. Oh, y'all want? Let me show you my little unicorn. I have horse art all over the house. I have like, I'm so obsessed. It's bad, but it's me, and I don't let anyone. This is my unicorn. This was made in 1980. This was a little thrift find. Yeah. So the detailing is just, look at the detailing, look at the grass and stuff. I'm so proud of her. One time I was collaging. I don't know if y'all remember I collage. And I made this. It's like a little, I don't know what it is, but I love it. And I found these horses in a National Geographic magazine. And I snipped that out. Like, I'm weird like that. And it's okay to be weird like that. Like, you don't have to even justify or explain it, my advice would be to, like I said, don't stop, keep going. Don't beat yourself up if you're not in a season right now where you can be all into your little hobbies and activities. If there's something that, you're interested in, don't talk yourself out of trying. At least there's always some introductory level, something to something. Scuba diving. jumping out of planes, hot air balloons, like, I mean, you name it. You name it. I mean, even bowling leagues are a thing. I ain't mad at these people that every week they up in there bowling hard, got the technique down, down pat. Like, that's what life is all about. You can't work all the time and then just pay bills and just do holiday stuff. Like, you gotta have fun somehow, or go to the gym. You gotta, what do you love to do, or what do you love exploring or trying, and just 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 go, just do it. And if not now, then later, create that plan. Because I'm telling you, when I did that research and I wrote down, okay, in my future budget, with this income, that income stream, this idea, that idea, babe's finances in the mix, and all the money, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm going to make it work, because I've always wanted this. It's always been a dream of mine. And, a dream dormant isn't a dream dead. Let me tell you, it is a seed. So pour into yourself, and don't let anyone talk you out of it. And also, to let it be for you. I did not start a campaign where I was like, babe, you gotta love horses too. You got, like, oh my God, you gotta do this thing with me. I will leave him so quick. I'm telling you right now. If he goes on a golf trip, if he wants to stay home, play pool, if he wants to ride a motorcycle, if he wants to stay home and watch sports, I am not going to be, please come with me. I need you to come with me. I need you to love horses like I love you. I need you to not be afraid. Like, you know what I mean? It's pet the horse. It's okay. No, it's for me. That's my thing. That's my getaway. That's my escape. My girls, they love horses too, like I said. And so that can be our thing, so you don't have to have a fan club. You don't have to have a following. You don't have to have anybody do this thing with you. You're going to meet other people that are just as excited and passionate as you are. If you want to connect with other people, I'm so glad to see that the world is wide open and back to normal in a lot of ways, because I'm telling you, working in the heart of COVID was like, I was a little worried, and I was like, worried that there was going to be this new world order of like people that, had certain privileges and then don't have certain privileges. And so, like, if you don't have certain paperwork, you can't do this, that's for us. I'm so glad that, like, no masks, no mandates, no anything. So, it's like you appreciate things more. You appreciate being able to move in your freedom and in your rights. And so everything is there. Like, take a little $20, $50 and set it aside and build that little nest egg for your passion projects and your exploring and your things that you love. Do it. I'm gonna do it, y'all. Y'all gonna see my little horse on here. Just give me a little while longer. I'm gonna be, look, she already got a name. Her name is Ginger. That's all I got. I haven't even thought of the other two horses, because my daughters are going to want a horse too. They can't always ride with me. Like, y'all going to have to keep up. But, yeah, I wanted to share that because I felt so exhilarated. And I was like, oh, I just miss my stomach's growling. I just miss, the whole horse world. And so, I hope this encourages you. And if y'all like horses as much as I do, I would love to hear from y'all. Like, what y'all out here doing? I can't be the only one in Maryland. I can't be the only Black girl in the DMV that loves horses and just, oh my gosh. So I wanted to just share that. This is all about doing what you love and loving what you do. So I hope you guys like this little chit chat with me. And again, happy Valentine's Day, and into the next one. Peace. Bye.